Hello, my name is Andrew and this is Zach. And today we are going to be interviewing Mrs. Edith Stephenson. Here at her house today, November 1st, 2010. Let's go inside and listen to Mrs. Stephenson's stories. Mrs. Stephenson, we'd like to thank you for taking this opportunity to share your life with us. I understand that you were born in 1919. One of the questions we'd like to ask you is, what is your earliest memory since you were born?
I was 3 years old when my sister kept me here while my mom and dad were away. And I remember that. And that's about all I remember about just having a good day.
Who were your great-grandparents?
My great-grandparents were Matilda and Joseph Thompson Harris.
Who were your parents and what did they do for a living?
My parents were Emerson and Eva Ferris, and they did farming for a living.
I understand not only lanterns were used at home, but can you recall lanterns being used for light on the covered bridge?
Yes, I can, because my dad used to do, in the mornings he would go put them off, and the night he would put them on.
How did your family get food during those days?
We had a riverboat, Majestic, that used to come in St. John, and brought all our flour and sugar, and then we sent our produce to our Galt in St. John, and so that's the way we got our food. And we don't want to forget our barrel of cookies for the winter.
Share about some of your years going to school.
Oh yes, they weren't easy like you students have it now. We waited in snow to get to school, and waited back, took our lunch, and had to shovel our own path from the road to the school. We had to use an outside toilet with snow all around it and on the seats. We had to go get our own wood for our fire. The boys would carry it one time, and next time we would get it. And it's quite hard to forget that.
Can you share about your work after you finished school?
My work after school was helping my mother here at the house, washing and scrubbing and things like that. And helping my dad out on the farm, picking the strawberries, digging potatoes. And that's about all we did. When I was younger, there wasn't anything to go to because we didn't have any activities. We had skating just down on the cove here, and that's about all the things we had to do.
I understand you live here in Cambridge Narrows your whole life. When did you meet your husband and start a family?
I met my husband in 1939, and I was married in 1939. And my husband was in the war, so the only time I've been away from Cambridge Narrows was when he was in Fredericton training. So then I come back when he was shipped to Kingston, Ontario, come back here with my parents. And then when he come back from the war, why, he built himself a garage and a TV radio shop and did work on that. And then my family started. I was 27 years old when Donna, my daughter, was born. And 6 years later, my other daughter was born, Marilyn. She's Marilyn Stevenson, but now she's Marilyn Day. And that's the only two children I had. That's about all I can tell you about that. Donna never married, so I have her home here with me.
I understand you were married on October 14th, 1939. Can you share about this special day?
True. We drove to Sussex at the United Baptist Church, and our minister was I, Judge and Levy, and had my brother and his wife. There's four of us married at one time. My brother and his wife and my husband and I had double wedding. And after the wedding, we drove back home and had all the family here and the reception and stayed all evening. In those days they had chivalries and you bought lots of candy and everything to go out and pass to people. And some would come in and we'd have a nice evening and be late when we went to bed down at night. But that was the way our wedding was sent.
I've heard about July 12th celebrations here in Cambridge Narrows. Can you share about this celebration?
Well, when time for strawberry picking, we went to pick berries to earn enough money to go to the 12th of July. The building is still over on the narrow side, and people would come in. The Orange Lodge had the meeting, and we had games and ice cream, and we thought we were having a wonderful time. And then in the evening there was a dance, so we all went to the dance, and that's how we enjoyed the 12th of July.
Can you tell me about some of the stores and buildings that existed when you were growing up in Cambridge Narrows?
Yes, there was a lot more homes, and I can remember there was up on the hill, and the next door neighbor and this one, but up on the hill, Black's Hill they called it at that time, there was a hotel, a barber shop, and a candy shop, and we used to go there to get our hair cut, buy our candies. The doctor's office is still up on top of the hills where the Fowler family live now. And the home that I was born in was just over on the same part of land, on the same side of the doctor's house. And I was born there, and I was a year old, and I moved into this house. And I've been here for 91 years. And it's always been home, and I guess always will be home. I'm getting a little ways along in life, and I don't want to leave it now.
Can you share about your Christmas holidays?
Well, Christmas holidays was spent by going around, seeing other people's Christmas trees and their gifts, and playing with the girls and the boys. And then we would have a Christmas dinner, and all the girls would come in here. And I remember one of the gifts I got was a little car, Ford car, and it was filled with jelly beans. And that was quite a gift in those days. And my brother received a train with jelly beans. And that's the way we spent our Christmas and New Year's when it was time to go back to school. Into Christmas time, we used to go to our grandparents in Waterboro, and where my cousin used to live that drove the bus. And my grandmother would have a big long table filled with all the goodies. And my dad had a sister married in one part of the house, and she would want them to go have a meal with them, but my dad always wanted to come out to grandmother's because she had so many good things. So that's the way we enjoyed Christmas Day, by visiting.
I understand you did some quilting growing up. Can you share about this experience?
Yes, we did quilts. We put them right up in this living room here. And we quilted, my mother, my sister, and myself, and all the ladies in the neighborhood would come around and all sit around the quilt and quilt it by lamplight. And my sister and I, we would prepare the meal. And at mealtime, they all would come out and sit at the table and have their meal, tell different stories. And then after they had their meal, they would come back in and quilt until the early part of the evening. and then their husbands would come up with a horse and sleigh or sled and pick them up and take them home. So that happened quite a few days in the wintertime.
I understand one of your friends is Ethel Blacksmith, and you did some skating together. Can you share any stories about the time you had together?
Well, the only time that we had was out skating, had bonfires, and built on the ice, and a crowd of us young people would skate around the bonfire, and then we would go to the Blacks' home, and Mrs. Black would have hot chocolate, and then Ethel's dad would get a horse and buggy, sled in the winter especially, and brought us back up to the wharf here in Cambridge. And one night we were there and bringing us home, and we got to the wharf and the horse, they wouldn't go. They turned around, and before we know it, they were back at the Black residence. So we had to go and stay at the house all night because the horses wouldn't face the storm.
Can you share about some of the fun activities you did growing up?
Well, the only fun it wasn't much fun. It was helping my dad hay, pitching hay on the wagon and bunching it with a fork. And I suppose the fun times we had when we were kids were just run around and tag one another, but we didn't have the things to play with like they have today. So that's how we got our time in. When we wasn't working, when we were glad to get into bed and go to sleep.
What event or experiences stand out for you as highlights of your life?
Well, when I think back, I suppose it would be my marriage, and then looking after my parents. I was a homemaker, and I looked after my parents until they passed away, and had my children, and did the housework, did the cooking for 7 or 8 berry pickers, and then I would get a chance to go pick a few boxes myself. And the highlights of my life was my marriage, but the sad part in my life was when I lost my parents. We were in St. John the day that my dad passed away, had Donna down there for music lessons. We got a phone call to come home that my dad was dying. So that's the sad part of my life.
What were your winters like growing up?
Well, we had a lot of snow, a lot more snow than what we had these winters, and very cold winters. But all we had was just playing in the deep snow, and very cold winters. And I remember in the winter time that a lady had passed away from the community. I was only 7 years old, but it really kept it in my mind. They had to bring her casket from Gemsag on a sled, and she lived up on the hill. Her name was Mrs. Pierce. I was too young to really know her that well, but I can remember them bringing her casket from Gemsag to help Cambridge.
Mrs. Stephenson, we of the Cambridge Narrow School would like to thank you for sharing your life experiences with us. We hope you enjoyed this experience as much as we did. Thank you once again for your time.
That concludes our interview with Mrs. Edith Stephenson of Cambridge Narrows, New Brunswick. This is Andrew and Zach. Thank you for the opportunity, a Legacy of History project.